Are you still playing?
Yes.
McDohl, in 100 words or less, tell us about all the trouble you guys got up to last session.
Well, as I recall, we were continuing to move through the wilderness with nonsense, and there were frogmen chasing us the entire way, and life was terrible. And then we ran into a very helpful person, which that guy's absolutely sus. Um, but he did end up pointing us in the direction of some very nice short folk who are all very hospitable. And we are on the way to their home.
That sounds about right. I think I remember some of that.
We didn't kill Denny.
We didn't kill Denny. And Denny survived last week.
Denny is still alive. Did survive the previous session, which is distressing, and I don't know how he'll not survive this session, at least until
One of us is going to have...
No, Denny's basically at the end of this campaign. He's going to have a redemption arc. He's going to have like a whole story arc to himself where he realizes the error of his ways.
No.
Becomes...
Have you met Brick Road?
No, the short folk in this session are going to devour him completely. It's going to be like Troll 2 up in here. They're eating him, and then they're going to eat me. Oh my god! Sorry, I had to.
No, I'm actually writing that down for intangibles. Thank you.
Wait, did anyone have Troll 2 for their horror thing?
No.
Okay, good.
So that's a different kind of horror.
It really is.
So over the course of the next few days, you guys are traveling along with the wagon train. And as you journey northward, the land becomes more and more pleasant. You start leaving marshlands behind and enter into rolling hills. Everything is nice and green, and coming up to the end of summer, probably. So the days are very long and hot still, those which are not interrupted with summer storms, which are light sprinklings, some of which with high winds. But the folk that you're traveling with keep in good spirits the whole time, and they are not stingy with sharing what they have in the way of food and more appropriate clothing for all of you who are still wearing your winter garb. But a lot of work would have to be done to actually make you guys something to wear, because you're bigger than all of these people easily. The tallest among them maybe reach 4 feet nothing.
Mini skirts. I am going to go ahead and use the language slot for the Darkanese, as we previously discussed.
Okay.
So I now speak the Darkanese.
Part of the landscape that you guys travel through, though, you go across this almost highland area where you're going. There's a lot of moving upward on hills, then carefully coming back down the other side. The hills become too steep in one area, and the wagon train has to go around them instead. There's one particular spot where you're looking down to your right, so it would be off to the east, and looking down into the valley below, and it's black and charred. And you learn, actually have somebody make a straight intelligence check, because this would be before any of you have learned the language entirely.
Okay. I'm assuming that's just me.
It's definitely not me.
I only have a 10 intelligence.
It was just one of us, then yeah, it's definitely you.
That is a 13.
A 13? They speak about huge fires that swept through that particular valley last autumn. There was a terrible storm, and for several days, the smoke of it was blown northward over the village, and there was a lot of illness.
We've been seeing a lot of smoke as we've made our way this way, haven't we?
Not like this. This would have been, great plumes. Like this, the whole woodland area down in that valley had burned down. A few days after that, do they know what caused it? No.
Having had wildfires in my area a couple of years ago, I can completely understand.
Eugenia gets wistful. She's like, this reminds me of my childhood. Setting wildfires in South Warrens.
It's just rabbit control.
Maybe Genie caused that fire. Who knows?
Pretty sure
The actual
Genie didn't
village,
cause that fire.
as you come up to it, surrounded with plots of farmland. They are the fields of wheat and barley, 2 of which are laying fallow. You guys are approaching from the south, and it's just this disorganized little mess of squat little houses, little cottages, a few larger buildings. Nothing in the way of commerce is done here. There's not a marketplace set up. There's not an inn or a tavern or anything of the sort. It's just this collective of families living off the land and providing for each other. They have a communal long hall in the center of the village, which a lot of times is used to store surplus harvests for when traders come by. Sometimes is used for indoor events, but most of the year it just lays empty. And so there's some discussion amongst what you presume to be the village elders. And it's decided that you lot can be put up there until such a time as your weariness has subsided, your sick has been treated, your injuries have been dealt with. All of you have to duck to get in this doorway. And once you're inside, few of the buildings, you could probably stand up in them, but you're always at risk of banging your head against an archway or getting your hair tangled.
Ekon 6'4".
So full-on hobbit holes is what you're saying.
Exactly. But the long hall they've got you in the center is much roomier once you're inside. It's a large open space. They have several long tables set up running the length of about half the hall. Short, squat tables that you guys could probably... You would find their chairs to be very uncomfortable. You'll probably have to find some other solution. But up and around it, the entire outside of the long hall is an upper level overlooking the main floor area. And there are 2 sets of stairs in the back of the hall that go up to it. So there's only this one room to this structure. And in this place, it's comfortably sized because it's functionally 2 stories. Everybody in town, and there's maybe 30 families or so. On the first day you arrive, as the wagon train pulls in, you address the curiosity of everyone in town. And by the end of that first day, you're pretty sure that the mother of every family in the village has stopped by with some sort of hospitality. A basket of fresh baked rolls or a jug of freshly pulled milk or fresh butter, honey. And by the end as the sun is going down, you guys are in this long hall, arranging probably straw mats on the floor for everyone. That's probably all they have available. But you start hearing music outside from all of the houses. Poking your head out the doors, every one of these little brown houses where one of these families lives. Most of them have some kind of small vegetable garden alongside or around back. But they all have a broad front porch overlooking the main thoroughfare of the village. And on all of them are these swinging benches where the families sit together. And almost all of them are playing an instrument of some kind. Some are just banging on drums. Some are playing bagpipes, blowing into horns. Or some just tinkling reams of jingling bells. So the sun is going down. You have plentiful food. And music encompasses the village at the end of your first day here.
Do we want to join in with the music?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do that, I'm going to bed.
No cello.
No cello.
Maybe they'll make you one.
I mean, technically, Jeannie can make you a cello if you want her to, but I don't know how much a cello costs. I have a woodworking build a cello.
So some of you are taking your own instruments and going out into the front of this long hall?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for an hour or two, the music continues. And then one by one, the lights start going out in the windows. And the music starts to fade away one instrument at a time until by the time the sun is fully down and the stars come out, the village is just silent and comfortable. And inside the long hall is your bedraggled party. What's next?
Is this large enough for like all the 30 or so hanger-ons we have, as well as the actual party members?
You guys have 23 people in your party here, so yeah. Hold on, I have the actual number here. You have 20 people in your party.
Okay.
And 20 people can fit in here. I mean, you've got people who have climbed up to the loft area as well, laying out soft straw mats. Some of the mothers have brought over rolls of linens or goose down pillows and things. Probably not enough for all of you, but enough to make the weariest of you comfortable.
Definitely want to see to make sure everyone's comfortable before making myself comfortable.
Okay.
Victor is going to do the stupid thing and go walk around the village at night.
Go walking around at night? Is anybody going to join Victor?
What's that?
Ekon and Evie have 2 levels of exhaustion.
Yeah.
By the time they reach... Well, you know what? That would have been cleared over the course of the journey.
Right. I mean, the only thing is I'm not joking when I say I'm not letting getting out of my sight. Like, my hawk is watching him when I'm asleep. Like, I'm literally always watching him.
Watching Victor?
But I'm going to go to sleep, and my hawk is going to be watching Denny.
Denny.
Denny,
yeah,
okay.
With orders to wake me up.
Denny he gorges himself on the food, and even by the time the music is getting loud and sundown, he's out.
Yeah. That's fine. I'm not letting him out of my sight, and I've got a familiar to help.
Is anybody else going to walk around the village at night with Victor?
Evie will go for a walk.
Okay. You guys have a light source?
Take a torch.
I have a lantern.
A lantern? Okay.
Yeah.
There's a continual flame necklace hanging around, so if you guys want it, just grab it.
Okay, I guess Victor will grab the necklace.
Okay. So all these small brown houses here are, most of them are just the small family dwellings. Much smaller than you would be accustomed to in one of the villages back home, because the people are much smaller. The large red buildings, they're still family dwellings, but for much larger families. And you get the sense that there's really no ownership here. The people work their farmland communally. This field on the south edge that you saw coming in, and this large field over to the east are fallow. They're not growing anything there this season. Over here, there's this tall hill, 2 twin hills that you can climb up and overlook down into the village on one side. Looking down the other side, you see where an old quarry, where it's been carved out in this hillside, and you see a couple openings going into the side of the cliff face, all of which are boarded up.
Make a note to ask about the boarded up openings later.
The water sources in the village, there's a small duck pond here in the center. There's also a well to draw from, one here in the village center, and then one up to the north that looks partially collapsed into itself. Also, somewhere off of this map, they have a small stream that they fish.
Wasn't this village like right on that river?
Right on the river?
Yeah, didn't the river like cut through this village on the one map?
Oh, yeah. But it's that. Remember, that map is one hex is like 20 some miles.
Okay.
So the stream they fish is like a tributary of the larger river.
Okay.
But these are definitely not river folk. They don't, like, their village doesn't sit on the river banks itself. So you spend a few hours just wandering the village, and none of the townsfolk are awake. None of the houses have lights on. It's just quiet, and you hear the sounds of distant insects chirping. It's a crisp, clear night. And yeah, you get a sense of the place.
Well, Evie, we made it. We're finally safe.
For the moment, we don't know if those frog people are still following us. I think it would be wise if we sent our familiars to kind of keep watch of all the approaches to the village to make sure that they don't come here looking for us and cause trouble for these people who have done so much for us.
Yeah, would not be a bad idea for us to start scouting again.
Okay.
The question is, how long do we want to stay here?
Well, we need to come up with a plan for where we would go next, and I had a thought about that.
Oh? Have you seen something on your scouting?
Well, you remember that old man told us that somewhere in this land there were elves cursed by the moon. Now, no one in this world recognizes our language, but that old man did recognize the elven language that we know, which means there must be some connection between the elves of this world and the elves that used to exist in our world, which means they may know how to get back.
Do you think Air would have sent them here?
I'm not going to try to guess. I'm not going to try to second guess Air. All I know is that the only connection we've seen between this land and the land we came from is that language. So someone who knows that language might know something about how to get back to our world.
I have to admit, that sounds as good a plan as any.
Okay.
We should discuss it with everyone else in the morning.
And right at the crack of dawn, roosters crowing, the village starts to come to life. Out in the village, just before sunup, as people are going about doing their chores, a group of the villagers and quite a lot of children start performing a lot of activity here in the main thoroughfare in the center of town, like the village green. So let's go ahead and get morning actions.
I think Jeannie would, since it's like right outside, basically in eye shot of like, because we're in this building, right?
Yep.
So it's like, I would investigate what's going on here.
Okay. Is anybody else going into the village green with Jeannie in the morning?
Victor is going to go so that he can try and get more information about the town as he helps with whatever they're doing.
So is Victor going to the village green?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm still like, 4 weeks away from learning this language, so I'm just gonna stick around Jeannie, who I think has finally figured it out.
Basically, like, Jeannie got so upset about that first, like, failed check.
Oh wait, did Evie figure it out too?
I think she's a week off.
Okay.
I think I'm about 5 days from learning.
Yeah, I've got 35 days. So yeah, I'm just gonna stick like glue to Jeannie today because
I think
I don't speak the language.
I think Jeannie got so upset that she botched that first like lesson with the peddler man that she got super hyper competitive just on the way.
So-
Now she knows the language.
What are Evie and Edmont doing this morning?
Edmont is gonna head up to that hill that's overlooking the village, and he is going to take a sketch of the village as a whole.
Okay.
Oh, but my familiar will be following Denny the whole time.
Have your familiar make a stealth check.
You got it. So Dex +3. $12.
A 12?
Yep.
Okay. And your familiar is what in it?
Hawk.
A hawk.
Yeah.
And what is Evie doing?
Is there someone in this village who looks like they serve like the role of an apothecary?
Make me a history or medicine check.
Get back here. Oh, come on. Where'd it go?
You screwed up.
Okay. For real this time. 20.
Okay. Having observed the people on the journey up, and then in that first evening after arriving, the gender roles are very thick in this villa. There's men's work and there's women's work. And observing the people, you suspect probably every woman in the village who is expected to take care of her family probably has some knowledge of like herb lore and things, ways to make medicines and treat injuries and whatnot. As far
Okay,
as
so
there
this-
being a village apothecary, probably not.
Okay. So there's nowhere to, like, surreptitiously buy materials to make poisons.
Doesn't look like there's anyone like anywhere to buy anything in this village. There's no shops. There's no storefronts.
Well, I was
Nobody
hoping
peddling
that-
wares.
Yeah, I was hoping there was, like, someone who made medicines who I could barter with, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
With a deception check at disadvantage because you don't speak the language yet, you might be able to get some medicinal herbs and just tell them, and just not tell them you're going to use them for poisons.
I don't know if I want to do that right now. These people have been good to us. I don't want to give them reason to be suspicious.
So what are you doing this morning?
I think maybe I would like to. Well, first I send my familiar out to just kind of scout around the town and be on the lookout for any sign that the frogs are coming.
Okay.
That's going to be his job. He's going to be lookout.
And then what's Evie doing this morning?
And I think Evie would like if Orson will come with her. She kind of just wants to go like out a little ways outside the village to kind of look for herbs.
Now, when leaving the village in the morning, there are several parties of village men going out. One or two parties are going out towards the stream. They're probably fisher folk. You've got people going out into the fields. You also have several of the men, who you might have probably met on the wagon train coming north with you, heading out into the wilderness. Are you going to join one of these groups of people, or are you going to go off on your own?
I think I'd prefer to kind of keep to myself.
Okay. Edmont.
Sir.
I just realized if you're looking at the table from my perspective, looking at these hills, somebody has drawn a face.
Oh.
Do I have you to thank for this face?
No. That's somebody trying to be a framey frame face. There we go. That works.
I thought they were boobs.
You can thank me for the face.
As you head around the bend here, going up towards the hills, there are a lot of apple trees. They don't have like an organized orchard where they're growing apples. It's just really on your way up the hills, the children that are tagging along with you shimmy up into the trees with sticks and start knocking apples to the ground, and you see them all snatching apples up. It is impossible to get to the top of this hill without a group of 5 or 6 very curious children following you up. Do you make any effort to dissuade these people?
Not at all.
Okay.
In fact, if I'd help them collect apples as well while I'm up here.
They're not really collecting apples. They're just grabbing one as a snack.
So I could, at least have a supply of them to take back into the to the longhouse for the rest of the family.
So you have a captive audience in the morning, and you notice that each of the children is clutching a wooden toy. And you don't make note of it at first, but as you spend the morning getting your charcoal out, you have like an easel that you're setting up. Like, how are we doing this?
Yeah, basically. Telescopic holes, that kind of deal.
All of the boys are carrying these little wooden dolls, and looking at them, you realize that they're knights. And they're wooden, but they have pegs in the joints, so they have some articulation to them, where they're holding a shield in one hand and a sword in the other. And you see where each boy has painted his own unique heraldry onto the shield, whereas each of the girls is carrying a wooden doll, a baby doll. And each of them has painted the baby's clothes different colors. And again, the joints have pegs in them for articulation. And partway through the morning, some of the children are tugging on your clothes and holding up their toys. And make a wisdom check.
That's a 5.
A 5. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not really clear what they want, but you do have their captive attentions. You spend the morning drawing. What do you do with the sketches when you're done?
Imagine he's going to be stowing them into a scroll case or something of that sort to actually finish a painting later.
Okay.
Once he has the supplies and the safety with which to work on that kind of thing.
Evie, give me a perception check for your familiar.
He has advantage on this. Yes. He got a 20.
Okay. No sign of any frog people as you send your familiar out far afield for today. That check encompasses him, the familiar, scouting some amount of radius around the town. And after you guys came north, coming down the hills overlooking the valley, there's not much in the way of stretched out woodlands. Dotted trees here and there, but nowhere for a number of frog people to hide. It's a lot of open space, a lot of just open grassy fields.
Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe they wouldn't come this far out of their homeland because they'd be too exposed, but we'll have to see what happens. If they really want to come after us, they would have to bring a large number at this point.
Okay. Now I have to make some rolls. That was a D12, not a D20. There we go. Evie, make me a survival check. You can make this at advantage because Orson is assisting you.
Thank goodness. Actually, my survival isn't that bad. I got a 17.
A 17, and how much gold does it cost you to craft 1 dose of poison?
I can, for 50 gold, I can create a number of doses equal to my proficiency modifier. So I need 50.
You need 50 gold worth,
Yes.
and you got a 17.
Mm-hmm.
Bear with me 1 second. I hadn't codified rules for this for red, did I, and forgotten them on gathering supplies for
Fake
poisons?
poisons?
Did
Sorry
Red
for
have
what?
this feat?
No, I used a custom background to make. I don't think this feat existed yet. I had a custom background that we used.
Oh, you know, yeah, you're probably right.
It was like I roll a poisoner's kit check and I make so much gold piece progress towards a poison every rest.
Okay. Okay, so roll 7d4 and add it up. Let's keep it nice and simple. And that will approximate how much gold worth of materials you've scrounged up with that survival check.
3.
I have a question for the rest of you. Did I ask Saul to roll 1d4 7 times? Because that's what he's doing. And I'll be
Same
honest.
thing.
It's driving me a little crazy.
He just wants to play with his dice.
I got 23. Okay.
He's trying to keep the table
So
clean.
you found 23 gold worth of materials.
Thank you.
Once you got to 50, so you have enough to condense down into 1 dose. Jeannie and Victor and Ekon, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you guys willing to work?
9?
9?
I recover from my exhaustion, right?
Yeah, everybody can take the benefits
9.
of the long rests.
Victor is going to go with a 10.
Victor's going to go what?
Victor's going to be a 10.
A 10? What about Jeannie?
I just wanted to see what they were doing.
Just check out what they're doing. So, a large group of men are building something in the center of town. You're not sure what. But who's clearly the town carpenter is doing a lot of directing. Some kind of wooden structure, or many small wooden structures, you're not sure which, is being constructed.
I mean, I'll ask him what they're building.
Make an intelligence check.
Okay.
We didn't stumble into the Wicker Man, did we?
That's an 8.
An 8. You try to get an exchange going to find out exactly what they're building, but you're not able to understand completely, nor do they seem to completely understand your questions. However,
So I don't speak the language.
I thought nobody did yet, because you only had gotten here.
You said we had 8 days of progress.
You only needed 8 days to learn a language?
No, I needed 0 days.
0 days.
You said 3 weeks minus intelligence modifier. I needed -1 weeks, fool.
I think you said it was a minimum of 1 week.
Which we had the week on the way here. 8 days.
I don't buy it. Rosetta Zone software has not been invented in this world.
Listen, magic.
He's using dual language, obviously.
So no, yeah. If you've had,
The owl familiar is just harassing him every night.
Oh God.
if you only needed 1 week to learn the language, and you've had 1 week on the road, they explain to you that
Can't do that again.
it's the end of summer, and by the end of this coming week, they'll be doing their final harvest for the summer, and there's going to be a harvest festival in the village. What they're building are large tables in the center of town where everybody's going to come here and eat, and they're going to set up tables inside the long hall as well, and there's going to be a celebratory feast.
Oh. Well, I'll tell them what they're building, since they don't speak the language, and then I'll dig in my pack and pull out my woodworking tools. And
This is-
smile at the man.
perhaps an important distinction. They don't ask the three of you that came out into the village green whether you would help. When you arrive, they put you to work.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm at, like, Jeannie, you're probably... What's Jeannie's strength?
8.
8? You're probably not stronger than the average man here, no.
No one in this party is stronger than average.
I have a 9.
But yeah, no, the three of you, when you arrive, they have no end of work that needs done, whether you're measuring things out or whether you're hammering boards or whether you're hauling supplies back and forth. Jeannie, at first, they direct you to a group of women who are starting to put up colorful decorations around the village. Again, they have very segregated gender roles here. Is Jeannie going to go help with the decorations, or is she going to insist on working the carpentry?
I mean, I could do carpentry or I can fix pots and pans, I guess.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is, do you fall in line with their expectations?
Oh, no, I'm going to ask them. It's like, I'm going to pull out my wood carving tools and be like, and ask them what kind of carpentry work they need done.
Okay. And there's a moment of friction as their brains adjust to this idea that this giant woman wants to help. It's not like they're upset about it. It's that it confuses them for a moment. But after a few minutes, you prove that you know what you're doing. You've brought your own tools. And they fall right in line. Throughout the morning, they take probably more breaks than you would expect. It always seems like they're breaking for something. It always seems like they're stopping and mopping off their brow, and some of the women are bringing around tankards of mead or little second breakfasts, mid-morning snacks. They're always eating and drinking, and they're always happy as well. But the work is hard and takes most of the morning. Ekon, how are you getting reports from your familiar?
Telepathy works within, I think, a mile.
Okay. Denny and...
I think Victor's telepathy works within a mile. I think a familiar only works within 100 feet.
Oh, is that right? Well, oh, you're right. In that case, I would have the familiar have standing orders to fly over to me and let me know if anything goes wrong.
Okay. Well, early in the morning, Denny and Lair break off to go out with one of these parties. Actually, this would have gone through Jeannie in the early morning. It's essentially a hunting party. They're going to go out. They spend a couple days in the wilderness. They come back with meat and furs. And then a second hunting party goes out while they rest and recuperate. Some different families trade off at different times. Lair was going to offer his services in this regard, being a trained huntsman himself and becoming somewhat acclimated to this wilderness. And Denny was going to go tagging along. Ekon, you figure out why Denny wanted to tag along an hour into the morning as you're sitting out here hanging up streamers and things, and you realize your familiar's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Has been killed. Go ahead and put the tally mark up.
So Jeannie and Orson already went out into the woods on their own? Orson's not around to help me track these people?
Evie and Orson went out, but didn't go out with any of the village parties.
Yeah. Don't like that. I will... What do I have prepared today? Nothing that'll help. Okay. Good talk. I will excuse myself from the work. Sheet here. I will head back to the longhouse, and I will cast Find Familiar again and immediately send my familiar back out in the direction that they were traveling.
Okay, but we're going to call that your afternoon action?
Yeah.
Okay. What's everybody else doing in the afternoon?
I guess still helping them set this tent thing or tables up.
All work stops in the afternoon for a good hour or two in the middle of the day when the sun is at its hottest. Everybody in the village is resting.
Jeannie is going to check on her siblings that are not PCs or sidekicks. Since
Check on who, because not everybody will be at the same place.
okay, do I know where are Lugren and Tinny?
This morning they were in the long hall, but most of your party had left the long hall with you guys and filtered out into the village.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment you don't know where any of them are, but if you tell me who you want to meet with, we can call that your afternoon action.
I would like to check in with Lugren, I guess.
Lugren?
Yeah. Tinny's already probably off playing somewhere.
Okay. What is Edmont doing this afternoon?
Edmont, after having taken the sketches, he will return to the long hall and can you come back to me?
Sure.
Victor is just gonna try and socialize with the people as best he can and learn what he can about not only them but their village and the area.
It's going to be difficult not speaking the language.
Yeah, he's gonna try his best.
Are you going to go with Jeannie and have her...
If Jeannie will come with him.
Well, Jeannie's going to go look for Lugren, so she's going to end up wherever he is. Is that what you want to do?
I guess Jeannie won't be coming with Luger or with Victor.
So what's Victor doing?
He's gonna go do his best attempt to socialize and make friends and learn what he can with his limited language knowledge.
With anybody in particular?
And he'll put the offer out, but if no one comes, he'll go by himself.
No, I mean with any villagers in particular. Somebody with a particular profession or particular role in the village.
If he sees somebody that looks like they may be in charge of like maps or surveying, kind of whoever looks like they might be in charge of organizing activities, I guess.
Okay. What's Evie doing this afternoon?
Evie spent the morning doing her own thing, so I think she'll spend the afternoon working to help the villagers. And she's proficient in Weaver's tools, so she will not be breaking any gender norms like Jeannie did. She will just be doing women's work.
Well, it's siesta time. By the time you get back from picking flowers and whatnot in the morning, the whole village comes to a halt in midday and takes a break.
Okay, I guess she'll be doing that after they go back to work for them mid-afternoon.
Okay, so what's your afternoon action?
I guess she'll keep looking for flowers then.
Stay out some more?
Yeah. If nothing's going on in the village, like she'll probably poke their head back and see everyone's resting.
And Edmont.
I'm gonna go look for Abernathy. Find out how he's holding up.
Edmonds.
Sir.
Abernathy and Trieste are still in the long hall when you get back. When you get back there, just as the villagers are coming to their midday rest, the difficulty they're having is they had thought by this point, especially with now that you've had a day of recuperation and relative safety, that Donique would start coming out of the state that she's in. She hasn't.
She's been in.
She takes food if it's placed in front of her, but she can't even make eye contact with her. Her gaze is just always off into the middle distance. She doesn't speak. She has to be led by the hand to move. And Trieste in particular is bearing quite a lot of the stress of this. And when you find Abernathy, he's there trying to offer comfort to Trieste, but there's not really much he can do.
I will say that, unfortunately, I don't know what can be done for Donique. She's kind of been like this. She's been this since we got to Ravenloft, right? Or maybe even before then?
No, she was like this before. This is how you first encountered her. Trieste, the story that Trieste told was one of the Endoline soldiers, a group of them had come to their house looking for their father, and she shot the face off one that had come towards them, attempting to grab hold of them.
I see.
And that Donique got... When you first met Donique, she was splattered with his blood. That's why Trieste no longer has ammunition.
Trauma, no doubt. Unfortunately, I'm not a healer or someone of the only person I can think of that would be who'd be able to help with this kind of thing would be Edmont. It would be my brother Ekon, but I don't know how much help he could be. But I'll talk to him and see what he can do.
Well, Ekon's here in the long hall, casting
now
Find
that we're
Familiar.
not. But yeah, now that we're not, fighting for our lives to survive, at least maybe we can now.
Yeah, Ekon's here with you in the long hall, summoning a new familiar.
Once Ekon's done with that, he'll call him over and see if there's anything to be done. What do you think, brother?
I mean, I could try like an actual medicine check, but there's like I haven't been granted any miracles that would actually allow me to use Air's Grace to, remove this. She seems to mostly be inflicted with trauma. And I have some skill there, but most of my medicine training is fixing the body, I'm afraid.
Say nothing.
Is there anything I think I could do with a medicine check to try and figure out a treatment for her?
No, because she doesn't have any apparent injuries. There doesn't seem to be anything physically wrong with her at all. Like that information you can get without a medicine check.
I mean, yeah, I've also been on the road with her for however long, so.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Trieste and Abernathy are just kind of at a loss for what to do about it. They're just hoping that she shakes out of it somehow. Especially now that the horrors are behind you. Now that everybody has a chance to breathe.
Yeah, that's kind of where Edmont is with that situation.
The only other person in the long hall is Chrisen. And none of you recall seeing Chrisen around in the morning, but he's back in the long hall now. And he's crafting something off in his own little corner of one of the upper loft levels. Victor.
I'll make note of it, but I won't stop him.
I mean, he's obviously making a spell focus, but I don't really have a problem with that.
So none of you try to interfere?
No.
No.
Victor, make an intelligence check at disadvantage.
That'd be a 2.
A 2? It's you kind of have it both ways. Because on one hand, it's impossible to socialize with these people. You don't share a language. You can't ask them questions. They don't understand what you're saying. And you don't understand what they're saying either. On the other hand, you find it very easy to socialize with these people. As you approach them, they're always friendly. If they're working on something, which they're not in the afternoon, but in general. Like if you approached one who was mending a fence, he would happily hand you a hammer and put you to work. If you approach one who's preparing food, they would offer you some. So that sense of hospitality is always there, no matter where you go in the village. You do kind of get a better sense of some of the trade in the village, such as it is. There are some families that specialize in particular work that needs done. The town blacksmith, for example, predominantly makes horseshoes and nails and things. The town carpenter and all the people who you were working with in the green this morning are all from the same clan, the same set of families. And in addition, there's huntsmen, furriers, there's an apiarist, and then the rest of them are predominantly farmers.
So nobody here, like, I don't see any maps of the area or anything while I'm socializing and talking to these people, or
not with the two. You're not able to convey that that's what you're looking for.
no,
You
I don't
see
have
any, no.
Okay.
None of them are carrying them around. Do you try to go into any of the houses and start looking through their stuff?
No, but it's at some point when I'm talking to somebody who I think might be in charge, knowing fully well I have no idea who's actually in charge. I'll kind of like if I talk to somebody who has like stuff to draw with, basically, I like sketch out a map and kind of like point to it in the surrounding area to kind of convey the idea without words.
Yeah, I mean, if you try to show them a map and convey the idea, there's curiosity, but there's also confusion. They don't really understand what you're asking them. Jeannie, you find Lugren in the afternoon, around the time that most of the villagers are taking their midday meal, which to your eyes looks like their third or fourth meal of the day. Lugren is by one of the houses on the outskirts of town, and he is pissed drunk. Red nose and sagging eyes, and he is just in a terrific mood. And as you approach, he's sitting on the front porch on one of these swinging benches, along with an old gentleman with a big bushy beard. He calls you up. "Sister, celebrate with me, for I have found the village's brewery."
I will pass on the alcohol. I just came to check on you.
"Why, I haven't been better since I stepped my foot on that godforsaken boat." And he tries to get to his feet, but you see he's not capable of it. He slumps back into the swing.
And I'll look at the old. You said it's an older gentleman.
Yeah, he's sitting on the swinging bench with an old gentleman with a big beer belly. And they're each holding a tankard of frothy mead, it looks like.
I'll apologize to him for Lugren's behavior.
And he laughs. "What are you apologizing for? As far as I can tell, he's the best of your lot."
He's something.
And I mean, as he's saying this, he's from a keg just inside the door of the house. He's pulling a tankard for you, and before you realize it, it's in your hands.
I will sip on it, but that's it.
And it's delicious. It's smooth, and it has a nice sweetness to it, and it's very warm as it goes down your throat. It's terrific. This man is a master craftsman.
I'll look at him and say, if we were where we were from, my father would probably pay lots and lots of money to hire you.
And Lugren, are you saying that in Darkanese to him?
Yeah.
Okay. Over the course of the conversation, as Lugrin is slurring and interjecting happily, he already tried. He went around this morning with coin, attempting to buy liquor, something to drink. And when he came across the brewery or was pointed this direction, they don't accept his coin. They're happy to share. So he's had 3 or 4 of these big frothy tankards, and he's going to be blacked out within an hour, easily.
Okay. And I'll look at Lugrin seriously. Like, Lugrin, I realize you're a little, and I'll make a hand gesture at the moment, but listen, if you need to talk, Evie is right around the corner, and she will be happy to listen to you.
Are you pawning Lugrin off like your sister?
Yeah, he's drunk. If you want to come, if you're sober, you can come talk to me. Otherwise, Evie's just around the corner. And I will, you know what? I'm just going to shotgun this drink, thank the man, and ask him to please, like, if he needs help getting my brother back to the longhouse, to please just send word, and one of us will come fetch him.
When you start upending this drink, I mean, you can't shotgun it. There's too much of it. And he's poured you a pint. Like, you're
I didn't realize it was that much.
Yeah, he filled your tankard. And yeah, it's terrific. And you take long pulls of it, and just watching his reaction, he is delighted that you're enjoying it. Like, this is what he lives for people to enjoy the fruits of his labor.
But I will hand him the tanker back, thank him, and then again, just like if Lugrin overstays his welcome, just to please send his word.
And shakes his head, just doing my job. Send the rest of those big folks up. They worked hard this morning.
I'll do that. I'll let them know, and then I'll tell Lugrin that I'm going to go look for Tenny. I'll ask him if he knows where Tenny is.
He does not.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go look for Tenny then to check on her. And
Tenny
I'll ask
is
him one
sticking
more
close
time.
to the long haul. Anytime you're in the vicinity of the village green, she's spending her time warily at first playing with the other children, but very quickly, because it's almost infectious. It's impossible for these people to not make you feel welcome and comfortable. So by the end of the afternoon, she's in and around the area of the village green, enjoying her time with the children.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when I get back to the long haul, I'll just tell everybody that there's free booze that Lugrin found, because of course. But it's very delicious. It's a very smooth mead, you said?
Yes.
It's a very smooth honey beer that yeah.
As evening comes around and some of the parties are coming back to the village, Ekon, what did you do with your second familiar after you resummoned it?
How far out had they gone before I guess it just disappeared. I mean, I wanted to send my second familiar to go back and try and track down where the first one was when it disappeared and see what was going, like, kind of try and find the hunting party and report back to me.
Okay, give me an investigation check for your familiar.
Yep. -4. That'd be a 12.
12?
That's pretty good for a familiar.
Okay. And let's get some evening actions as the village starts to come back to life a little bit. The fishing party returns.
Action.
Did what?
I don't think I got my afternoon action.
You said you were just staying out in the wilderness.
I thought I was looking for more flowers. Is that kind of just part of my morning action?
Or do I make another survival check?
I'm going to count that as like a once per day thing, because that's the kind of thing you would do over the course of a long rest.
Okay.
So you spent the 4 hours of the morning and in the afternoon, and having done all of that, that's encompasses what you do with your survival check.
Okay.